Hey guys, it's Jenny the Kitchen Coach, and I'm so excited today to share with you 3 of our family's very favorite money-saving tips when it comes to buying food to feed our family. So as you're well aware, feeding a family can get really expensive, especially if you're trying to stay away from the processed foods and eat a lot of whole foods. Our family, we have some food sensitivities and food allergies, and there are 7 of us to feed, and we're doing it on a single income. And so sometimes it can get just a little bit tricky. And so we figured out some little tricks. So number 1, the thing that I love to do is to search the ads before I even start meal planning or creating a shopping list. I start to search ads. And one of my very favorite places to look at when it comes to ads is called Rancho Market. And maybe you have one near you, or maybe you live somewhere that has a store that's similar to that. But they have amazing produce deals. So recently, I was about to look at this ad, and I thought to myself, even before I opened it up, I thought, oh, if I could just find an awesome deal on sweet potatoes, that would make this month so much easier, because we can all eat sweet potatoes, we all like them, and nobody is allergic. So lo and behold, I opened up the ad, and you guys, they were 5 pounds for $1. That's like phenomenal for sweet potatoes. They're usually $1 or more a pound. So I told myself, I'm going to buy like 100 pounds of sweet potatoes. And I did, literally. I bought just shy of 92 pounds of sweet potatoes. You can see them right here. La! That is a big pile of sweet potatoes. Now, that may sound super crazy, but I did my research ahead of time. What I did was I got on Google and I just searched, can you freeze sweet potatoes? And it turns out you can. It turns out you can freeze them cooked or you can freeze them raw. So I'm going to go ahead and do a little experimenting with freezing sweet potatoes and see what works best. And I'm going to go ahead and just stick most of these suckers in the freezer. And these will probably feed us for 2 or 3 months. So that is an awesome, awesome deal for us. And we're going to eat sweet potatoes a lot this month, and we're going to love it because we love them. So I also, at Rancho Market, I found onions. And I got 23 pounds of onions. We've already used some of them, but it was an awesome deal. They were 4 pounds for $1. So on sweet potatoes total, I spent $18.40 on that huge pile of sweet potatoes. And on onions, I spent just somewhere over $5. So that is an awesome savings right there. And honestly, we could probably just live on sweet potatoes all month, and wow, that would be such a cheap way to feed us. But we want more variety than that. Okay, so I want to show you just a few more things that I do buy in bulk because they work really well for us to buy them in bulk. So, oatmeal. We buy a lot of oatmeal at a time, and it's shelf stable, and so it'll last a long time. But it's also it's very versatile. You can do a lot with oatmeal, and if you soak it the night before you eat it, or you figure out some way to be soaking it before you eat it, it is more nourishing, it's more digestible. So no, oatmeal is a great one to stock up on. Another one we do a lot of is, sorry about that, carrots. So I get these big 5-pound bags. No, I think they're 10 pounds. Yep, 10-pound bags of organic carrots at Costco, and I think they are around $5. And I usually grab 2 of these for the month when I go shopping. And I don't know if I already mentioned this, but we do shop for a month at a time. And then we'll just fill in with fresh produce throughout the month. But the bulk of our shopping we do it one day on one day at the beginning of the month. And that also saves us money because we're not running to the store every day wondering what's for dinner and picking up random ingredients. So anyway, I get these carrots at Costco, and then sometimes I'm really on the ball, and I will take a whole bag and I'll peel it, and then I'll wash them and cut off the ends, and then I'll stick them in a container like this. And if you add a little water at the bottom, then they'll stay nice and crispy. But when I do that, they're so much easier just to grab and chop up into carrot sticks, or to dice and chop up and throw in a stew or soup or whatever it is that you're making. So carrots are awesome. Okay, the other thing that we usually buy a ton of each month is organic apples. And I know that sounds crazy because usually that's way expensive, but I found a store, it's called Sprouts, and maybe you have one of those near you, I don't know, but if you can find a place that randomly or occasionally has a deal on apples for like $1 a pound, then I would buy a ton, because apples last really, really well in the fridge. We actually usually buy around 40 pounds of apples at the beginning of every month, and then by the end of the month, they're still good. We might still have a few hanging around by the end of the month. Some months we go through the 40 pounds even before the month ends. It just depends. But they do last really, really well. So here is my case of apples that I got from Sprouts. And sometimes they'll come in bags like this. Sometimes they'll just come in like layers of loose apples, but it doesn't really matter. What matters is that it's an awesome deal on apples. $1 a pound, or actually less than $1 a pound for these organic apples, because I got a case discount. So they took like $5 off the case. Wahoo! Okay, so I think that's it for the stuff I have here, but I want to share just a few more things that are also really, really good to stock up on. So one of those is frozen bananas. And frozen bananas are usually, not frozen bananas, overripe bananas. So overripe bananas are usually way inexpensive, and they freeze very, very well. They're awesome in smoothies, and I make banana ice cream in the blender with them. And sometimes we'll just grab the frozen bananas out of the freezer, and it's an awesome summertime snack. So another thing that's really good to stock up on if you eat a lot of meat is look for those meat sales. And if you can find a super awesome deal on meat, then grab as much as you can possibly afford and stick it in the freezer. You can cook it first, or you can just stick it right in there. The other thing that we did a few months ago, which has been so awesome and so helpful, was we did find a case of avocados for like $20. So we found it was at the same place that we got the sweet potatoes and the onions. They had avocados on sale for 4 for $1. And I just about freaked out, and I ran in and I said, I need a case of avocados. And after they figured out what I was saying, I think I was a little excited. They went back and found me. It was the very last case in the store, and they sold it to me, and it was like $20 for like 80 avocados. It was crazy. So I went and I cut them open and got the pit out and took them out of their skin and laid them out on a cookie sheet, and then we froze them. And then I stuck them in the plastic baggies. If we had stuck them in the baggies without freezing them first, they'd be like all mushed together. So that's another tip. If you're going to freeze a lot of your produce, I would flash freeze it first on like a sheet pan and then stick it in your gallon baggies. Otherwise, you're going to just have a bunch of mushed together frozen stuff. It's going to be really hard to separate. So the next tip I have is that you want to plan ahead as much as possible. So we actually meal plan for an entire month at a time, and we've gone back and forth to a few different ways of doing this. Sometimes I'll just go a couple weeks at a time, sometimes just a week at a time. Sometimes I'll just write out a month's worth of meals, but I won't assign a day to them, and that way I can just pick what meal I feel like making that night from my list that I know we have ingredients for. But whatever way you do it, planning ahead will really save you a lot of money. And the other tip that goes along with that is you can also save money by prepping your food ahead of time. So you can maybe, as you're prepping one of your meals for the month, if you make twice as much and then stick some of it in the freezer, you'll have a really quick, easy meal for later in the month that you don't even really have to prepare. And that has saved us a lot of time and money, because we're not running out to eat when we don't know what to eat. If we have a night where we're like, what do we have for dinner? I know we have something in the freezer that'll be really easy to put together. So I found that that is probably my very best tip at actually sticking to my meal plans, is to get ahead of the game, is to prepare food ahead of time. So it's so easy later just to grab something out of the freezer. Even if all I do is chop onions and stick them in the freezer, somehow just that one step off of my list of steps I have to go through to make dinner, actually, it does something inside my brain, and I'm more likely to actually make dinner if part of it is prepared ahead of time. So those are 3 tips that have helped us a ton as a family to save money on food, and not just save money, but save time and save stress, because food should be a joyful experience. It shouldn't be a huge source of stress. And I am so not perfect at not stressing about food, but this does help, and I hope it helps you too. Anyway, have an awesome day. Thank you so much for watching. We'll talk to you later. Bye.